I should start by saying that I am a video editor. That's my trade. I'm a big King of the Hill fan, and I have a hobby that is dabbling in Unreal Engine. It's just a hobby. But as hobbies tend to do with creative people, it's gotten out of control. Like the 500th time that I saw this episode, the cross section of a fan and hobby was kind of inevitable. And then this started happening. Now, what you're seeing here is very much the tip of the iceberg. This is a project that has really gotten away from me. So I'm going to urge you to stick around because there is a lot to go over, and I'm probably going to say leave a comment down below a lot because this is something that really needs input from more people. So the thing about this video game from this episode, it's called Propane. It is basically a GTA ripoff that would have been made in like 2001. The whole King of the Hill TV show takes place over like maybe like a 2-year period. It's a little bit of a sliding timeline, but generally it takes place around the millennium. These two college kids make this GTA ripoff. Like the fundamentals of a GTA clone would just be, third-person shooter, stealing cars, a range of weapons, NPCs and enemies. Now, I'm going to be really transparent about this. I am not a 3D modeler. I can get through some of the rudimentary stuff, and also, like I said, this is a hobby. It's just this project is really at a crossroads right now where it's turning into a very technical, large project. Now, the fun thing about making Propane into a video game is that it's supposed to be a cheap knockoff of Grand Theft Auto. So that means, it's not going to require a lot of originality. And if you know what an asset flip is, there's just all of these resources online that you could basically build a video game without having to know really anything, because you can just buy the programming from people, you can buy the 3D models, you can buy maps. I would say what I'm doing is more like a kit bash than an asset flip, because I can never just leave anything alone. If you're interested in any of the models or anything, any of the asset packs that I use, I'm going to put links to all of them, or as much information as I can down below in the description. I didn't model this. I didn't put this together. It was an STL file, which is for 3D printing. So one of the first things that kind of set this off was finding this absolute beautiful specimen of a game ready 3D model of Hank Hill. I mean, incredibly accurate, beautifully modeled, honestly. Like it's not overly modeled. But when I found this, that was kind of like the first step off the cliff into this project, because the guy in the video game is kind of like a sort of like buff version of Hank Hill. I had this model for a while, which is this sort of like survivalist apocalyptic character, which I love. Specifically this guy who does this modeling. All of his stuff is great. And this I thought was a good in between from GTA to like really cartoony style. This is an ongoing issue that I've been having, is trying to pin down what should the style be. Leave a comment down below what you think the style of the video game should be. But hold off on that comment so I can tell you what the options are. So I chopped this guy's head off, and I put Hank's head on there. This really kind of worked for a while. Obviously, there was a bit of a color matching problem, but as I continued to, go down this rabbit hole, I started thinking that it shouldn't look cartoony, and it should look like a legitimate third-person shooter. I went all over the place looking for a decent 3D model that would work for this. And I found this guy. First off, it's so hard to find a decent 3D character with that specific shirt, the short sleeves and the buttons. I think the best part about this design is that he's really buff, but he still has like a beer belly. Now, if you don't know what MetaHuman is, this is basically this website where you can just make hyper realistic faces and design them down to really small details. So I did my best to make a MetaHuman Hank Hill. I think it's a pretty good likeness. The trickiness of it was to make him look just about as dopey as Hank, but make him look a little bit more chiseled because his head has to go on this body. Like I made this head. So I decapitated the survival character and stripped down the head that I made in MetaHuman, plopped it on this guy, and I know things are starting to go off the rails here, and took off the backpack, left on the straps so that I can put stuff on him, and added some glasses. I might not be the only one thinking this, but he looks like Mark Zuckerberg now. I don't get it because he really looks okay. He looks, I think, like Hank here, but then somehow this maybe it's the haircut. And here's the thing about if anybody wants to get involved in this project, I am not going to be precious about like protecting my creative control over this. If you think you can make a better, slightly chiseled Hank Hill MetaHuman head, have at it. Let me know. I will gladly put a better model on here if one exists. So I want to show you some of the things that I either built or modified for this. So here we go. Oh God, they're coming after me. The kind of came from a so a lot of this is modified from a third-person shooter bundle that I got off the Unreal Marketplace. I've been tweaking the AI for these guys for weeks. Whatever, AI is tricky. Get beefed up here. So we got the flamethrower. I made these little pickups. I really like how the pickups turned out. I'm just sort of like rotating with the spotlight over them. Get some ammo. Standard ammo. Gotta have an assault rifle. And you can see up in this corner, this little gray bar, that's the propane tank. See, it's empty right now. You come over here and you can pick up this one and it goes, "You got Max Payne." I am so happy with how this flamethrower turned out. I mean, you're having fun already just looking at this. I know you are. Take that, you bunch of sons of bitches. Oh, they died. There he goes. This flamethrower was so much work. This is all kit bashing. I found the flamethrower online, added a candle flame there for the pilot light. And then there's two separate animations here for like the jet stream coming out of it, and then sort of like where the fire culminates at the end. Either when you stop shooting, the pilot light comes back. I'm really happy with the sound effects. As a video editor, I've done a lot of like sound editing. All of these sounds were like built from the ground up with like, again, kit bashing, kind of like taking different sounds and putting them together and coming together with this. We got the knife. These guys do ragdoll. They're just not ragdolling right now. I don't know what his deal is. But this was all pretty cool, like getting blood to like spew out of like where the knife is actually making contact. I love the trail of smoke from people who were like recently caught on fire. I know how janky all of this is. This thing is at a crossroads where it is about to go from something silly and janky that was thrown together and into something highly detailed and polished. And that's why I'm making this video now. So right now we're waiting on the city map to open. It's pretty big. It's not optimized. There it is. It's happening. So this is the city map. I love this map, but this is called a Big City Map for Gary's Mod. I'm not a Gary's Mod guy, but as I understand it, this particular map has been used and reused a lot in Gary's Mod. And I can see why, because this is a fabulous overworld city map. It's not on like just a simple grid. It has some branching paths and some dead ends. It's got like different areas. There's like this, water treatment. There is a city river. There's a highway bridge. It's not all just tall buildings. There's like a little warehouse district. It looks really plain, but it's really good bones. And what I mean by that is you can really turn this into any kind of city you want just by adding details. So the aesthetic that I've decided to go for is a mix between Dallas, Abilene, Texas, and like LA, but a video game. Fortunately for me, I live in Texas, so I have experience with those two things, and then I have played video games based in LA. So I also have that experience. So just by adding some storefronts and some city props, things like a parking lot, bus stops, stoplights, power lines, all this stuff, it just starts to really fill it out and give it a lot more character. Of course, there's got to be check cashing places and guns. One of the things I love about these storefronts is they have this kind of like lo-fi look that really is emblematic of those like early 2000s video games. Cities started getting kind of open sandbox, but they still didn't really have the fidelity there. This is where the problem's coming up is leave a comment down below. Should this video game look like a cartoon? Should it look like a 2000 GTA ripoff? So really lo-fi, big polygons, no shadows, very few props, have a really nostalgic look to it? Or should it look like a modern day third person shooter? I just have been vacillating between all three of those options. So just give me your thoughts, guys, because I could go nuts with details. I love doing this kind of stuff, just making the backgrounds, building the world out. It never gets old for me. I could do this forever. But oh, look at that. I've been working on the traffic system. I did purchase an asset pack that deals with the traffic. It's pretty good, but it's very bare bones, so it's going to take a lot of work to get it to where it's doing everything that you kind of need in a video game like this. This right here is another little kit bash. This does need some improvement. This is another model that's still a little janky. Cars are a surprising amount of work. This is a gas station that I've been working on modifying. The guy who makes these models, he makes these really great, like, game-ready environments. And I've sort of been just modifying this gas station to look more ugly and run down, and also more Texan. Again, I live in Texas, so I know some of the hallmarks of ugly Texas shit, that being poor choice in colors and just putting the fucking state everywhere. So this is my fake Texas gas station with early 2000s gas prices. Just getting it kind of like detailed out for in game. So we've got Manitoba cigarette ad, Alamo beer, or Manitoba cigarette ads. This Citrus Mountain, that's a bit more of a deep cut. That's like in one episode. Oh yeah, I put these billboards in here. Whataburger, Bucky's. So I've kind of made this the hub where all the gear is. What? What? What is? Oh my God! Holy crap! The cars are freaking out. There you go. See? just to basically like rip off GTA and get some cars doing what cars need to do. You need to make AI cars that just drive around the city, obey traffic laws, try to not bash into each other. And then, like, the cars need to blow up. They need to be able to accept damage. And then the cars need to be able to switch from AI cars to playable cars. And you need to have the cars spawn into different types. So you have to, and then you have to program all of those different types of cars individually. Especially like cop cars need to have the sirens. Having a good police system is just as important as having Alabaster, the OG of OKC, in the video game. Those are all important stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. This is one of the things that, like, I bought an asset to get water splashing when he walks around, and it just didn't fucking work, and I had to program this myself from the ground up. This is why I say I'm more of a kit basher than an asset flipper. I really don't care if you want to call this an asset flip. Fine, it's an asset flip. Like I said, this is a hobby. Oh, there's one more thing I want to show you guys before we leave the city. It has this tiny building, which I've decided to turn into like a food stand for like tourists. We got the Channel 84 building over here. Put some satellites on there. So this should have been all that I really did, because that's all I was trying to do, was just like make propane into a real video game. But like I said, I really like building places and environments. I love creating atmosphere. And it basically just started to occur to me that if you're going to obsess over making a King of the Hill video game, you might as well obsess over making a King of the Hill video game. So I'll just start here with what's essentially the opening shot from the first episode of King of the Hill. And here's Rainy Street. So it turned out that the guy who made the Hank Hill model made a few other models. He made Dale. He did not make a Boomhauer or a Bill. Those are 3D printing files that didn't have any textures. So that's why they're just standing there holding beers and they're gray. Let me take you on a quick tour of Rainy Street. This is a good example. Should it look realistic or should it look cartoony? I've decided that I'm just going to make all of this look cartoony. You can roam around Arlen in the cartoon proper and then get on the computer and then go into the video game world. I had this wooden fence that, you know, has this sort of like realistic wooden texture on it. Once I started trying to make stuff look more like the cartoon, I don't know, this is just much more satisfying, like the way that this fence looks. So I've been making textures just by actually like taking screenshots of the colors and the walls just straight out of the cartoon. And I've got these little like brick lines, and I can kind of like move those around to different parts of the buildings because that's sort of part of the style. Go on into the garage here. You know, we need some bikes on the walls. We need some ladders, but got the workbench. Everything's kind of like half baked right now. This all needs more cartoony textures. And now we can go into the wild nexus paradox that is the Hill residence. It's the most thought out of the houses, but still a lot of creative liberties taken. We got Peggy's office here with propane on the old MacBook or on the old iMac. Got Hank and Peggy's room. Obviously, need to work out the carpet. Shouldn't be in the bathroom. And Bobby's room. I don't know. Bobby's room is just kind of fun. Got the Bart Simpson doll. I think is like a Dixie Chicks poster. And his very 90s wallpaper. The foyer area, dining room, with all of their hideous decoration choices. Here's Hank's den, which does not have a window there. I don't care what anybody says. It's a big kitchen. Slowly, like, adding more and more details. Still need the cabinetry here. I'm really happy with how this glass has turned out, because I just had, like, realistic glass in there initially, and now this is more like how it is in the cartoon. It's just these, like, streaks, and they kind of move as the camera moves. as you get further away from them, they just turn into like faded out white blotches, which is again, that's kind of like more how it works in the cartoon. But yeah, let's get around Rainy Street here. Maybe we should drive around. Here's Bill's house. Beautiful lavender home. Bill's hammock. His ugly kitchen floor. Bill's house is one of the great paradoxes of Rainy Street because anytime that there's somebody at the front door, like looking in, you can see his couch. I don't remember right now why that's a problem, but it's a problem. We got the Daughtry family portrait here. Got his shitty little setup with his dead plant. If anybody doesn't like the layouts of any of these houses, you are welcome to again comment down below. Message me on Instagram and send me some images if you think you can prove me wrong. Not only are the houses all like just paradoxical on the inside, just Rainy Street itself doesn't make a lot of sense. I drew up this diagram. It's very well established that Hank lives next door to Dale and Hank lives next door to Con. Where Bill and Boomhauer's places are, not as well established. There are episodes where Boomhauer comes from this direction. There's episodes where Boomhauer comes from this direction. I kind of like the stupid episode with the giant McMansion in the neighborhood, and that house is next to Bill. The episode where Luann moves into her own house is so heavily established that Luann lives next to Bill. That Pops, who dies in the house before him, they say, you lived next door to him for so many years. I've started like the exterior of Luann's house. We got Luann just kind of hanging out over there. The pool is pretty spot on. You got Lucky's monster truck, which is not drivable yet. The McMansion, I think that might be something fun to like make it totally destructible because I'm sure a lot of people don't actually like that episode. Con's place is in very early development. It's one of those stranger layouts, but all I have in here so far is a jukebox and the blue walls. Boomhauer's place has been pretty fun to put together. It's kind of slapped a fucking hot tub out back. Just trying to get his vibe down. The record player, the lava lamp, stupid girly posters. Got his bonsai tree. Got his camera and his TV set up. Even though Boomhauer seems to have his life together pretty well, he doesn't have a bedside table. He just keeps a lamp on an upside down crate. Dale's house is another place that is really well established. Kinda. I forgot to mention. Yes, the Bugabego is drivable. This was another kind of super kit bash. You know, now that we're going into Dale's house, I think we should switch it up here. All right. So we got Dale Gribble now, who is also a playable character. I've just been like finding like appropriate animations and walk cycles. I especially like the run cycle that I got for him. It's just very appropriate for Dale. And I've started working on everybody having like individual attacks as well. So here's Dale's key attack. I got it to where he just is constantly holding a cigarette and will just take a drag like between his run cycle. Yeah, but anyway, Dale is going to be a lot of fun to totally flesh out as a playable character because he does like karate and stuff. His house right now is such a wreck. Right now, his home does not have a floor, but you can kind of see his living rooms coming together. The reason that he doesn't have a floor right now is because I have been trying to figure out where to put his basement. I only recently realized that there is a closet behind the punching bag. This is another like pretty well established space, but getting it to where it fits under the house in a way that makes any sense, that's a big problem. And then like, where do the stairs go in the house? Okay, so I just explained the whole layout of Dale's house for like 20 minutes, and I'm going to just do that in a later video. But suffice to say that where his basement door is, nobody knows but the aliens. While we're hanging out in the neighborhood, my personal favorite character and another model that was already built, we got Bobby. who has a nice, like, just exhausted little fat kid run. I did work out an attack for him as well, which I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds to think about what his attack is gonna be.
That's my purse! I don't know you!
Every time before he kicks. So it's perfect. So I don't know how to say this guy's name, but there it is. And he did make Hank and Bobby, Peggy, Dale, and Luann. I don't have any way to get in touch with this guy. So if anybody out there can figure out how to get in touch with him and tell him, that what's going on over here, and that the world desperately needs him to make more models, please do. So yeah, that's Rainy Street. Definitely a work in progress. So I know this one's a controversial one, but it is absolutely probably my favorite episode is Tanking It to the Streets. So I really wanted there to be a place where you could go and steal a tank. This is another asset that I kind of just found and started modifying. It's just really like just a nice army base that I think bears some similarity to the one that Bill works at. Put in a little building here, but we got in here a fake arcade with Bill's barber chair. Obviously, this place needs a lot more work. So that's a fun addition nonetheless. Another standard location that is, I think, very necessary is going to be the Megalo Mart, which is just the world's biggest parking lot wrapped around a big red square. Got some Chuck Mangione and a ton of automatic doors. I've started putting in the registers and trying to figure out a way to get all of the departments kind of built into it with all the stuff on the shelves without blowing up my computer. This is a map. Comment down below if you think this is a stupid idea. Is Nine Rivers Country Club. I'm kind of confused about this because like Nine Rivers is kind of like iconic from the show, but the place that Bobby works at and the place that like Buck plays golf at, that's not Nine Rivers because that's the All Asian Club. Basically, this is like a really big sprawling map that I shrunk so that all of the normal sized roads are now like golf cart sized roads. And then I just started like adding sand traps and golf holes. I don't know. I'm not super excited about this one, but it is nice to have a place where you can go and steal golf carts from. So this is another more recent map that's a little bit half baked, but I'm pretty happy with. A rat head mounted on the wall and the poster for the Rebel Alliance shotgun sitting next to a cash register. I'm having some trouble kind of figuring out the layout of the shooting range because there's the early gun club in like season 2, and then later on, this is like season 12, I think. There's a sign up, this big patch of grass and this smaller patch of grass and this beer can and this specific Y-shaped branch. All of that is still there, like in the 12th season, as well as these 2 tires. Big patch of grass, 2 tires, so it can, and we're working on the trees. Here's another one that I think turned out pretty damn spot on. I'm not a fan of the walk cycle I've got for Hank right now. It's really not working out. His run cycle's nice. It's very athletic. But yeah, we got the big propane tank, bobtails, big propane tank out back, and the sales floor. We got some propane accessories, different pipe fittings hanging on the wall. We got Hank's office. He's got a little picture of Peggy there and his water cooler. The layout's a little bit wonky from episode to episode. I don't know where the bathroom is, but we know that it is a multi-stall bathroom. This might not be the most interesting map, but it is actually one of my favorites that I put together. The Sugarfoot, which does have an apartment building right next to it with a couple of dumpsters. It's very important if you know your King of the Hill lore. I don't know why I like this one so much. I think maybe because I really like how it looks in the sunset. Check out the sign. The sign's animated with a little winking eye. It might also be that I just really like restaurants like this, but, you know, we got the sawdust on the floor and plenty of tables to go around, putting together a kitchen. And then, like, you know, the windows, like, they glow all yellow on one side, but then when you go in, you can see out. And then the last map, which you already saw a preview of earlier, is gonna be this overworld map. And there's no real layout to Arlen, but I'm kind of going off some things that people have said and things that kind of make sense. I do want to build a trailer park. I think the army base should be close to Rainy Street. Also think that Sugarfoot should be close to Strickland. The trailer park, it kind of makes sense that it would be like closer to the Megalomart, you know. And the gun club should be kind of like off-road, so kind of got that at like not really at a cul-de-sac or anything. And then this right here will take you to North Arlen, which will be the propane game. So this is just going to sort of be like an explorative overworld that doesn't really have a lot going on in it specifically, but it'll get you from one map to the other, which begs another question. Comment down below. Again, these are the maps that I've worked on so far. Which one do you guys want a full-blown video on? Which one should I totally flesh out first? They're all kind of at different stages of completion, including like just like the individual houses need as much work as the entirety of Rainy Street. So that's the whole picture right now. I wanted to go ahead and share this because I wanted to know if I should delve deeper into this project. If you want to see more of this, if you want to support it, this isn't even like the line that people give where they're like, oh, comment, like, and subscribe. I am going to drop this project unless I see that other people are interested in it. That's all there is to it. I do have a Patreon. There's a specific tier in my Patreon that's just for supporting the video games. I don't know where this is going. You know, anything could happen. Maybe it'll just be a series of videos. Maybe there's some legal way for me to share this as something that people can play. Maybe I'll become friends with Mike Judge and he'll just let me make this into a full-fledged licensed video game. I don't know. It's just, right now it's just been a hobby, but I want to get more people involved in it. So if you want to help out, contact me on my Instagram if you want to see more stuff, comment, let me know, subscribe. And if you want to support it, then head over on to Patreon. Those are the things. YouTube videos don't really actually need endings, so bye.